Hey, this is Tony for Tony's Tractor Adventure. We are back out here again. We're going to look at the T494 with Carl from TYM. Hey, Carl, man.
Hey, Tony.
Glad you have us out here talking about this. We love talking about tractors. First off, this is a little bit bigger than my audience most of the times would probably use. Tell me what is it going to be used for mostly, and who do you think needs it?
Okay, so this tractor, so we got the 494, which is 48 horsepower, and we got the 574 over there, which is about 55 horsepower. So this you're starting to get into somebody who's going to work it a little bit harder, a little bit more full time. It's a little bit more of an all-day tractor.
Sure.
Whereas some of the smaller ones are more, you use it for a little bit here and there, and then you put it up or that kind of thing. So this gets into more your all-day thing. You're talking about people who, you know, they got a lot of field to mow. They got you know, you start to get into people who are feeding livestock with it. You get into some material handling. So this is where you start. You could almost say, in some ways, this is almost where you start to get into real work.
Right. Yeah.
It's a chore tractor.
Right. Yeah.
You probably, you know,
utility.
Yeah. You start to get into the utility side. You've got people who they have their bigger tractors for their production work, and then they've got their chore tractor that they use for the stuff around, you know, around the barn.
All right, tell me about the engine on this. You touched bases on it a little bit earlier about this one's 50 or 48 horsepower, and this one's like 55. Tell me a little bit about the engine.
So both of these tractors use a 4-cylinder Cook-J engine. The 494 is 48 horsepower, naturally aspirated. The 574 is 55 horsepower with a turbocharger on it. Turbocharger is really great in high altitude environments.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one or two dealers who are in those, who, you know, they're in the Rockies and everything, and that's what they love.
Tell me a little bit about the history of Cook-J. I mean,
Cook-J's been doing engines for about 25 years or so. They've been
They're not new.
They're not new to the game. They've been at it for a little bit. They've gone through all the different tiers of emission standards and everything. A while back, they manufactured for Cummins for their A series engines in the early 2000s. They've taken a lot of that experience and expertise and brought it forward into the Tier 4 world, and so you have these Tier 4 engines that are very reliable. They're practically bulletproof, and they're actually a lot better for maintenance and care and all those things than maybe some of the other engines you get into. They don't use a lot of computer controls. It's you know, we joke sometimes that somebody with just a basic set of mechanics tools can get in there and work on this stuff.
Hey, so we're up front here and we're looking at this loader here. This is a beast of a loader. I'm already just, it's got some substantial.
There's a lot of metal involved in this. A lot of very heavy.
Tell us all about this. What's the lift capacity?
So this loader is rated for just shy of 2,800 pounds down here at the pivot pin.
That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
So that's easily brown bells all day long.
Yeah, round bells all day long. Don't break a sweat. We keep on going.
Right.
Has the skid steer quick attach, so it comes standard with a 72-inch bucket, but you can put grapples on it, 4-in-1 buckets. A lot of your material, some of your specialized tools, material handling, post hole diggers, and those kinds of things on it to do whatever you need to do.
Now this tractor, you can get the factory or the OEM third function. Is it? I mean, I know I see the buttons.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah. So it is wired all the way through from the joystick down to the valves, and then there is available third function kit for that your dealer can install. Run it all the way, steel lines all the way out here, put third function out here.
I really like that because, you know, some of the I've seen other dealers, and, you know, and I don't want to badmouth, but you get the third function from an outside party, and there's black duct or black tape, and, you know, that's just not good. I like a clean, you know, it's not going to get hung up on stuff. The steel lines, that's another plus, you know, it just, that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
All right. So taking this loader off, how long does it take to take it off?
Once you've done it a couple times, probably 5 minutes.
Really? So even this big, it's.
Yeah, it's a quick attached loader.
So this adjuster or this rod here, self level or leveling indicator.
Level indicator. basically with whatever you're putting on your loader, get it level the first time, adjust this pipe up and down so that you're flush right here.
Sure.
And then every time you get in it, you know immediately whether you're level or not.
So you got hay spear on the front of it. You get it set up, especially somebody's gonna do it hay or a forklift a lot, like maybe a landscape business that's using the forks a lot. So you get this set up for whatever your main application is. I guess it's not really that hard to change it out, really.
No, it's just a little screw right here, and just
so you could easily do it in a few 20, 30 seconds. You're ready to move on. But so you get it set up, and then you're just while you're set up on the tractor, the rod comes out to the end of this. You know your attachment is level.
Yep.
That's a nice, and you know what? This is not cheap either. This is pretty. Yeah, that's a nice.
And it's not standard all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers that you're gonna pay for the privilege of knowing whether your butt gets level.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it on some bigger tractors that they don't have an indicator.
Yep.
That is, it's not overly complicated, but it's such an effective tool.
Absolutely.
I see this pretty much across the board with TYM. They are not shy about putting some big axles on a tractor. There's always every one is like overbuilt for their size tractor.
Yeah, we like our axles big.
Yeah.
You know, 4-wheel drive is standard across the lineup, which aside from the convenience of having front drive axle, front drive train, also adds weight to it, which is going to help you a whole lot when you're using it for loader operations. Because there's that extra weight to kind of sit there and stabilize what you're doing.
All right. So we're over on the 494 now. We're over on the T574. This is, first off, right off the bat, it's a very nice cab. But we're going to talk about the hydrostatic transmission.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you straight out. This is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite model in the lineup. Yeah, it's great. But this is a hydrostatic transmission. It's 3-range. So you have the 2 pedals, dedicated 4 reverse pedals. This also, which allows, it's a little more natural for most operators over your rocker pedal.
Right. I definitely prefer left to right, versus the rocking forward.
Yeah. So most people find that pretty comfortable. So with this transmission also we have auto throttle on it. Now here's how kind of what auto throttle does is it's much like the throttle pedal if you're using a standard transmission, a gear tractor.
Right.
Like the 494. You have it, you're going pretty good clip, you need a little bit more power, you push the throttle pedal and you get it for as long as you're pressing the pedal. Same thing happens here. What we've done is combine the hydrostat pedals with that throttle control so that as you press down on your hydrostat pedals, it will rev the engine up for you for as long as you're pressing the pedals.
I see that as being priceless in loader work. I mean, as you need a little power, but also I see another benefit too. In some of the older tractors I've used that have hydrostatic, but they don't have auto throttle, you're going to need a certain amount of power doing loader work. So you're pulling your throttle down and you're leaving it revved up. So this way you're really kind of, when you're letting off of the throttle or the pedal, you're letting off the throttle, you're not wasting fuel when you don't really need it.
You've got that. The thing that I find when I use these tractors is that the auto throttle for me makes the tractor a lot more responsive. I actually feel like what I'm doing down here has a direct effect on what the tractor's doing. So some of the basic stuff that you see on a lot of models, we do have this first of all, these category 1 hitches.
Right.
3,300 pounds at the link end, about 2,900 pounds.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So
the great thing here is you've got the extendable or telescoping link ends, so you can pull them out. You get close enough so that you're not afraid you're going to run into the implement when you're backing up into it.
Right.
So you get pretty close, but you don't have to get dead on. You hook it up, and then you can snap them back into place once you're hooked up.
Right.
Along with that, the stabilizers down here are telescopic rather than the turnbuckle. Turnbuckle can jam up, and sometimes is an absolute pain to
You're down there laying on your back with wrenches.
Yeah, well, especially if it's cold and wet and everything, and it's just it's just not fun. So we got the telescoping ones. We just got the pin to pull and just slot it where you want it and put it in. So we got all that. One of the really great things that we have on this tractor is this control lever here. this position control.
I like this a lot.
You know, that allows you to take and, you know, you can raise and lower this out here. So you're not, you know, if you've got the back window open, you're not reaching in trying to do it. Or
I've played this game before.
You know, you're not reaching in and hoping you don't hit something else that you shouldn't be hitting.
Right.
Or you're not having to climb back into the cab or whatever, or you don't have, it doesn't become a two-person job. Some of this makes some of this installation a one-person job.
Right. This definitely is, because I have played that game where you back up to something, your arms are too high. Well, you got one or two choices. You try to do something maybe not be as safe as it could be, like reaching over, or you actually go back around and get into the operator station and do it.
And you've just burned 15 minutes.
Right. This with here, you're here. You can see it up front. I like that.
Yeah.
So I see it's got 2 sets of remotes.
2 sets of remotes come standard. One set has a detent function on it, so that it can be turned on. Right. And so you do this for backhoes and for other things where you have hydraulics running,
like a hydraulic motor of some sort.
You know, something on the actual implement. You just need to make sure it's always getting flow.
Sure. Now I do see this spring here, and I'm assuming this is draft control.
Yeah. So that's all. You've got draft control going on in here, which is great for tillage, anything where you're digging in the ground, right, one way or another, and because what it does is it basically makes sure you don't get bogged down because you're digging in the ground. You know, you don't get your plows don't dig too far under. It doesn't slow you down. You don't have slippage, which saves you a lot of time, saves you fuel. It saves operator fatigue, because otherwise you're watching out the back window. And you're kind of playing with your position control. That
gets on your neck.
Oh.
All right, Carl. Well, we've been teasing on this cab. I know you love this cab, and I'm telling you what, this is a nice cab. It's big, it's roomy. Tell me about it.
But climb up in there.
Okay, I want to do it. There's absolutely no problem getting in and out.
No.
Nice, comfortable seat right off the bat.
This is a big boy cab.
Yeah, this really is. I mean,
you know,
I can't touch my elbows to the side.
We've actually, I've heard from dealers where we've had 350, 400-pound guys, you know, 6 foot plus, and they are just as happy as can be in this cab.
Right off the bat, I noticed the pedals. They're easy. They're, you know, some tractors I've got in, and the pedals are really, really tight, and you have to really concentrate on where your feet are. This is plenty roomy. It's just got so much room. I feel comfortable. I can stay in this all day.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is this is where you're starting to get into the all day cab, where you're going to be out here 8 hours and doing stuff, and you're not fatigued from having done that. It's a suspension seat. It's a very adjustable seat. You can adjust the suspension in. You got the armrest. You can move it forward and backwards to fit.
So let's see. My wife, me, and you.
Yeah. Although I actually usually sit a little bit further forward than most people would think, but yeah, you know, so you got that. You've got your it's tilt steering. You've got your joystick control right there by your hand. Yeah, and it's the thing is it's also got some of the convenience features to let you be in the cab all day. You've got 3 cup holders. You've got You've got your
I see
you got 12 volt. You got dual USB. You got a couple of trays.
It's got a nice radio, Kenwood radio. It's got AC, heated cab. The vents are everywhere. It's got a light in the center here. I mean, you know this, but it's got a rear view mirror.
Yeah, it's got a rear view mirror inside the cab. I mean, you've got these mirrors out here.
That's useful though.
But yeah, so you got a little bit better visibility there, to see exactly what's behind you. Make sure you got that everything straight. You got all the windows open, and
this is a nice feature. It's, you know, on a nice spring day, you pop these windows over if you don't really need the air conditioner heat. It's got the rear window that opens up. It's got windshield wipers on the front, windshield wipers on the back, nice speakers, sound system. You could stay in this cab all day.
You could.
I absolutely could do that. I'm trying to look around to see if there's anything the viewers might want to see or know, but it's a pretty well laid out tractor that has everything right at your fingertips. You know, you're sitting here all day long doing your job. It's in your bush hog or whatever's behind you. Just so one other thing this thing's got, it's got manual PTO and auto PTO. Tell me about that on this tractor.
So the auto PTO feature is if you're what it does is basically once you know above and below a certain angle, it turns the PTO on off. So what basically once you come out of the ground, if you know if you're doing something like that, it's going to turn your PTO off.
So if you're a tiller, for example, you don't need to raise your tiller all the way up to the highest position because it puts a bind on your drive line. So this is when you raise it up, it turns it off at a certain point.
Yeah, and that
so
is,
that's awesome.
well, it protects you. It's actually a little bit of a safety thing because when it's coming up out of the ground, what's happening here, you may not want any part of it. Maybe start throwing stuff and
sure, yeah,
and things like that. So it actually does offer a little bit of safety.
But you do have manual.
You do have manual to where if you need it going all the way up and down, you can do it.
All right. I'm sure there's applications for that.
Yeah. This tractor is really great for not just daylight operations, but you've got the lighting and everything to use this tractor at night and however you need to use it to get the job done.
And let's face it, farming and people who are operating tractors for small dairy, small hay, they're not doing it. A lot of these guys are going and working a full-time job during the day, and then they're coming home and working to the wee hours of the evening and as they say, making hay when it's time.
Yeah.
And the fact to have these lights is a big deal.
Or they're doing it first thing in the morning before it's morning.
Doing chores.
Doing chores before they go to their job. Yeah. So it really offers that flexibility to get the job done whenever the job can get done.
Well, Carl, hey man, I appreciate you walking me around this. That's a heck of a tour you gave us.
Oh yeah.
And this is a heck of a tractor. And I'm gonna agree with you. I really like this cab. That is a nice cab. This has got to be kind of a flagship tractor.
Yeah. For me, this is I really believe that this is TYM doing TYM as best as it can, and that's just it has the features, it has the durability, it has the quality. This is us at our best.
Right. It's a nice tractor. I said in it, in first impressions, I see nothing that just jumps out at me as, hey, I wish this was different. It just feels comfortable when I sit in it. It feels like you know what, you get a good glove. Mm-hmm. It feels like a good glove when you sit in it.
Absolutely.
All right. Buddy, I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thanks.